warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, make your next move a power play with Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. First responders, veterans, doctors, nurses, teachers, and yes, Let's Go Blues Radio listeners get special rates. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com and score big today.
Have you subscribed to the LGB Minute podcast yet? It's a 5-minute weekly St. Louis Blues podcast hosted by Jeff Ponder that is released multiple times a week to fill the gap between Let's Go Blues Radio episodes. Subscribe today.
So awesome, so handsome, so smart, you'll agree. Kurt, Jeff, and Bill are on TV. It's radio on TV. Oh yeah, it's radio on TV.
From St. Louis, I am Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by a man who lays in piles of hay, Bill Day. Kurt Price is still facing allegations. We also have a special guest tonight, who we'll get to in a moment. We're bringing you the often imitated, never duplicated, how could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. The original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. This is incorrect. I think it's the 11th episode of season 15 and the 539th episode of all time. I'm asking a question as I say that. It's Wednesday, December 10th. That is correct. And we're coming to you live. Tonight, we provide you with the state of the St. Louis Blues. We talk about some recent games against the Atlantic Division, injury news, signing news, player call-ups, all that and more on this vile and foul episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. So I mentioned, Bill, I want you to just shut up and not say a word for the first, 20 minutes, because we have an awesome guest. And of course, Bill, I'm joking. We have a great guest from 101 ESPN. Jordan Deeken joins the show. Jordan, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. And I will say that when she came on, I was off camera and I told her, I said, hey, I look ridiculous. So be ready. And I popped on and she sees me wearing my crazy Christmas stuff. And yes, that is a Mean Girls reference of Matt Harris. Matt Harris is in the chat. There you go, Matt. Christmas is so fetch. But we know Matt is also a fellow Mean Girls fan. But then she goes, oh, can I wear my Santa hat? And I'm like, yes. So there we go.
Match.
We got a festive friend of the show now.
Got to match the vibe for sure.
That's right. Bill, where's your Santa hat?
Didn't get the memo.
Go get it.
Wait. Do I have to raise my hand? Am I allowed to talk yet?
You're allowed to talk. I'll allow it this one time.
All right. You addressed a question to me, so I thought it was okay.
That makes it okay.
I don't know that I have anything like a Santa hat. I think we reserved that for the dogs in this house. So
I see some Christmas lights behind you, so that's a little festive.
Yeah, that's out the window. So
nice.
We're fairly close to Christmas vacation house with the brightness of our house.
Nice.
In contrast with our neighbors, we are definitely like the annoying, brightly lit house.
I didn't realize that about you. I am the same way. I know, shocker, right? But yeah, I'm the same way. I go nuts. We got the forever lights around the house now. So I still have all the old lights I used to put around the gutters up top. And so I was like, I should do something with these. I'm like, I should put them on the back of the house, like around the fence. So I went and asked my neighbor for those that don't know, I live in a fairly elderly neighborhood, a lot of first generationers here in this neighborhood. And so I went over and asked my neighbor and just, hey man, just want to make sure it's cool. Like, as we share a fence, cool if I put my lights up. Absolutely. He's like, you are the only one in our entire area that does anything for Christmas. You really brighten the neighborhood. And I'm like,
Aw.
well, I'm also like 40 years younger than everyone around us. So I actually live in a retirement home, for those that don't know.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
You're the only one willing to risk. Well, now that you have the forever lights, you're off the hook. That is my goal for
Yes.
next year. This every year I have to climb the steep pitch of our house and the roof, and every year I'm like, I just see myself sliding off and onto the retaining wall 50 feet below and falling off that 10 feet further. Yeah.
Doing the Christmas vacation, hanging on to the gutters.
Yeah. It's a little scary. So I'm trying to convince the Christmas boss to allow permanent lights.
I tell you, it was actually my wife's idea. It's the way to go. Dude, putting them up I put them up in the summer, and oh God, so much better. I got up there in the morning. It was only like 70 degrees out. Oh, it was great. And the only mistake I made was I did not wear pants. I went in my underwear. I'm kidding. I was wearing shorts. But my knees got really poorly scraped up, and I was like, yeah, probably should have worn pants for this, or at least knee pads. But either way, the fact that I didn't have to get up there, it usually when I do it is the day after Thanksgiving, and that would have been horrible trying to do it that weekend.
Yeah, I learned that lesson a few years ago and started doing it like end of October.
Yeah,
probably right when we were putting out the Halloween stuff. I'm like, I'll go ahead and put out the Christmas lights. We have the smart lights for the main part of the house, so we can get them, color tuned to the season.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. How about you, Jordan? You big Christmas decorator?
Oh yeah, I got my Christmas tree to my right, all my Christmas decorations in my little kitchen area. I am not owning my own house currently at the time, but my parents were talking about this is probably one of the last years that my dad should be climbing up on that big old house, and my mom's like, we might need to start hiring somebody for that. It's scary. Nobody, whether you do it in the summertime or I think my parents did it not right after Thanksgiving, but one of those last weekends where it was like really nice before it got cold. And, like my dad's like, do you want lights all the way up there on that second story? My mom's like, yes, please. Like, so yeah, I think it can get scary. So you just got to be careful.
So my brother is also big into decorating, but yeah, he's got a crippling fear of heights, which unfortunately my parents had a pretty tall 2-story house. Unfortunately he realized this fear when he was like 14, helping my dad with some gutter issues, and he literally got on the roof and apparently absolutely froze, like couldn't talk, couldn't move his legs. And my dad almost had to call the fire department. He was so nervous. Like, I can't carry you down the stairs. Like, or down the ladder. What am I supposed to do? Yeah. So yeah, now my brother is like, yeah, I don't even mess with that. He's like, I put up in the inflatable stuff. I put, lights around wherever I can reach. I'll get on a step ladder, but he's got a 2-story house now. And he's like, I will not go up there. And I don't know. I kind of, even though I don't like doing the lights, cause I hate like having to like hang down and be like, yeah, I could fall any minute. A gust of wind could push me over, but I don't mind getting on the roof. It actually doesn't bother me. I tried to put up it looked like a Millennium Falcon that was delivering a Christmas tree, and it was an inflatable. So I tried to get that attached to the roof, and it was really cool for like a week. But the problem was we had so many crazy wind gusts that year. It kept blowing the stuff around, so it would like constantly be upside down. So I had to keep going up and fixing it. And after a week, I'm like, nope, this is stupid. Like, even though I don't mind getting on the roof, having to fix this all the time when it's like 20 degrees, no, not worth it.
Not worth it.
We got Ace in the chat saying, I'm petrified of heights. Yeah, I hear you. Matt Harris always chiming in. I cut out a construction paper Christmas tree to tape to our wall. Merry Crimmy, y'all. Trimmy? Crimmy.
Merry
Yeah.
Crimmy.
Is that a Gen Z thing? Merry Crimmy?
I'm not Gen Z, I don't think, but
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like there was this this might make me sound well, no, maybe this is more millennial. I don't know. I feel like there was a Vine or like a meme one time of like all the different ways you said like Merry Christmas, like you know what I'm talking about? Merry
Yeah, I
Christmas?
think you're right.
Okay.
It
Okay.
sounds like a vine, actually. I think you're
Yes, like a Vine, yeah.
right. Okay. Yep.
And I think that is a defining characteristic of millennial versus Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't know what Vine is.
Well, they're
Right.
bringing it back. Did you
I
know
heard
that?
Yeah, I heard that.
That seems too soon. Like
Too
the,
soon.
Well, they're bringing
the
all back like
nostalgia.
the original videos, and then you can make new ones, but like there's no AI generated content that can go on there. So
Oh,
like
nice.
I'm excited for it to come through.
That's cool. Yeah,
That-
I'll admit,
that
I actually
actu-
did. I did
yeah.
get into Vine for a little bit. I did one with I had a very large beard, and I remember I made one where I shaved half my beard, and then I took in the Vine, and then I shaved another half, and then I had like just the mustache, and it actually did really well because people were like, "Look at this crazy guy shaving half his beard."
Oh, yeah.
So, yep, that was fun. It was a good time. We got in here. Let's see, Matt Harris. He got my stick, and again, Jordan, I'm going to apologize for the crude behavior of us and our listeners. He said, "I got your stick, Jeff. Thank you for giving me your stick. It was never mine. It was Justin Falk's stick." So there you go. We had a giveaway recently where we had a Justin Falk Pro Stock stick, and our friend Matt Harris, who does not play hockey, was our winner. So
Very
I'm
cool.
sure he enjoys that cool stick. And Matt Harris is calling you Jordan Gen Z Deacon.
Oh, that's okay. I think where is this? I think I got a broken Bjugstad right here.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Did you get
Yeah.
that recently?
I think it was my first year working with the Blues. So when I was an intern, like I would, after the game was over, I would go down into the tunnel and pull the assistant coach, or when we would win the third star for a radio interview. And, you know, you're waiting to get into the locker room, like media getting released and everything like that. And I make friends with everybody that I meet. So I'm talking to all the security guards and everything. And, you know, there was one time where they usually give those sticks away to like kids that are like sitting down close to the bench and everything. And they didn't have anybody that game. And we were all walking out, and I was like, do you get to take that home? And he was like, no, it's actually for you. And I was like, you're so sweet. So yeah,
Nice.
didn't even have to like bribe anybody for that. But yeah, broken Bjugstad, and I think that's the only stick I've ever gotten, and I'm okay that it's broken because I don't think I'd want it to go all the way up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's going up past your Blues banner probably.
Absolutely.
At that point. So yeah, that'd be tall. No, that's perfect. Perfect height for that shelf you got there.
Yes. Oh,
Well, again, we're going to talk more with Jordan, kind of learn more about what she does here in a minute. But let's go ahead and get into our beers of the episode. And this is the official beers of episode number 539. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. You can follow me at JPonder94. Bill, I will warn you, I do not have beer tonight. I was going to, and this is very funny. Last night, you know, because we had our beer league game last night. Our friend Mike Bucher brought beer for us to drink after our 10:30 game, which is always a terrible idea because it's so freaking late. And I don't know if it was the cold. I don't know if it was the beer choice, but I only had 2 beers. I had 2 Busch Lights, which I'm not a fan. And I woke up today with the worst stomach ache. So don't know what that was. Maybe it was something I ate last night, but I was instantly tasting that Busch Light again. So I said, you know what? No beer for me tonight. I'm going to stick to some Dr. Pepper. So I'll go
24-hour hiatus. I don't blame you.
Yes, exactly. Bill, what are you drinking tonight?
So I'm recycling something from earlier in the year. Bell's Expedition Russian Imperial Stout. So
nice.
Cold days call for really dark, heavy 12% alcohol by volume beers.
There you go. Yeah, and over the weekend I did I had some of that Fat Elvis left, and I was like, I'm going to save one for the show on Wednesday. And at some point, Saturday or Sunday, I grabbed it and drank it. And then right as I drank the last drop, I was like, oh, shit.
I had a plan for that.
Yep, I did. Jordan, are you a beer drinker at all?
I am not a beer drinker. I definitely have some tummy issues, so I am a liquor kind of girl, and
Okay.
I drink vodka waters. So my
Oh,
stomach
okay.
can't handle much carbonation. I gave up soda during COVID, so I think my body just doesn't know how to react to carbonation or lots of sugar anymore. So yeah, vodka waters with some Mio is the way that I go.
Nice. That's a good call. I've had that before. I knew somebody who used to pour vodka and then just put the Mio in, and I'm
Oh,
like, ugh.
oh my gosh.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
ugh, you are more man than me.
maybe in the college days, like I dabbled in my straight vodka sometimes, but with just some Mia, oh, I don't think I could handle that anymore.
No,
That's
no. It
crazy.
I took I went to take a sip and I smelled it and was just like, nope. Like I couldn't even try it. I'm like, nope,
No,
that's all you. Good luck.
no, that's crazy.
Let's see. Chris Schmieder. Don't we know him, Bill? We
We
know him, right?
do. He played
Yeah.
with us the my return to the ice last
Yeah.
year at Centene. He came out and joined us. He has since hung up the skates, but yeah,
Oh,
recently hung
okay.
out with him and his lovely bride Lauren at Global Brew in Edwardsville on
Nice.
our annual Black Friday. Well, this year I don't think anybody really got drunk, but we all go drink the Bourbon County
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and yeah, so um
One of
yeah,
these years, I'm going to join you for that
yeah,
because I hear that's a good time.
it's
But
yeah,
Chris
it's a
Schmieder
blast.
says all kinds of Bergen
County.
Co. Bourbon County. Good
Yes.
Lord.
Come on, Jeff. You could do
I, t-
this.
I talk for a living. All kinds of Bourbon County available for Bill Day at Friars. Yes. That's good to know. I was going to say Schnucks had a fair amount out by me in Oakville. So for those of you who love the Bourbon County, go buy that up. It is good stuff. Every now
Yeah.
and then I usually only drink about one at a time because if I have two, it's
Oh, yeah.
just like I'm gonna be face planting here soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 14% ABV
Yeah.
for those. So that's yeah, it's pretty rough. Typically when we go like in years past, I always would do a flight and you get 5 8-ounce pours, and halfway through it you're slurring and yeah, unintelligible. But this year I couldn't stomach that. So
Yeah.
just did. I actually had 2 spread out over a couple hours and felt fine. So
For any of the South Park fans listening, one of my favorite quotes from the show is when Randy Marsh is telling his son that he is not an alcoholic, and Stan looks at him and goes, "Dad, you're drinking like 5 beers right now," and you see him and he's got a flight in front of him, and he's like, "No, Stan, this is a flight and it's classy," and he starts just chugging all the beer. Good stuff.
yeah.
Oh, alcoholic humor. Always good. Well, speaking of that was the worst transition ever. Speaking of alcoholics, Jordan Deeken. I don't even know you, and I'm sitting here making jokes with you. I'm sorry. Get used to that. It's gonna
That's
happen
okay.
all night. So Jordan Deeken again with 101 ESPN. You obviously are doing some awesome work. We've seen your social media videos, mostly on Facebook. I think it's on Twitter as well and Instagram. You do great work for them. From what we can tell, you do game recaps, game previews. But tell us, what else are you doing there for 101 ESPN?
Yeah, so I am the blues producer for them. So I work every game behind the board at the station in Creve Coeur. So all the way from our pregame that starts at 6 o'clock to when you wrap up postgame with Alex Ferrario. And then of course doing like all the behind the scenes producing of cutting up the highlights and everything like that. Attending the practices and going to things while the Blues are in town, but I also it's not just 101 ESPN that I work for. 1057 The Point is also underneath what is the parent company of Hubbard Radio. So I also do produce the Woody Show over there too, that runs Monday through Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. So My days can get pretty long, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's can start with practice in the morning and then you go back and cut up all that audio, do the Woody show, and then can go straight into a pregame. That takes you all the way throughout the end of the night. And I end the night every night right here filming my reaction video for the next day. So it's so cool seeing like we talked before we went on, like the behind the scenes and everything, like pulling back the curtain. I grew up loving this sport and loving this team and wanting to do something in this field. Just never knew what exactly that wanted to be. I just knew I wanted to be around the Blues, and actually getting to do that and having the full circle moment like literally every day is really, really cool.
No, that's I mean, and again, I know people on this show. Bill, I don't know if you know this. I used to be in the media. Did you know that,
It's
Bill?
been mentioned once or
Yeah.
a million times.
Yeah, once or a million, something like that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and I was telling you before the show, Jordan, like the surreal experience I had in my first game, and I did countless ones after that. I was a member of the media for 2 years, and obviously I had my highs and lows, but like that first experience for me was one that I will literally be on my deathbed and I'll remember every second of it. For you, because as a fan growing up, it's one thing like, I've done like some slight Cardinals coverage in the past. I've done slight coverage for other teams, but like for me, growing up a Blues fan, a guy who's played hockey his whole life and just, is so like Blues all the time. As a kid, I remember my teachers literally saying, Jeff, stop talking about the Blues. Can we please get back to the subject at hand?
Yeah.
And so for you, like, it sounds like you kind of grew up in a similar vein. What's like a surreal moment for you that you've had doing what you do for the Blues and ESPN and even Hubbard Radio?
Yeah. So to give a little bit of background on like growing up with it, my parents were season ticket holders from 1997 up until COVID. And then, so like, I think I started going to games around when I was like 6 to 9 months old. So I, grew up in that arena. I think honestly, I mean, the first game that I worked, like you said, it was very, very surreal to, walk through like the media entrance and go up to press row. Like I never even going to games all those years. You just see all those people up there walking around in suits and you don't think anything about it. So to actually be up there experiencing it. And then my job for those 3 years was to host groups to come up, clients, charity auction winners, just like friends and family of Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. I would host them up to press row for about a period or so and kind of just like give them a tour. They would get to watch the period from up top and listen to the game at the same time. And it's like that's also like how I met Curbs and Joey was through Lindenwood. I got to go to a game and go up top, and I think Curbs saw like the passion in me and offered me his email, and from there we were like kind of chatting back and forth. But so I think that first game was really surreal, but I'm definitely like I like to take a lot of videos and make a lot of recaps and just like for my own time. And recently I've been running out a lot of storage on my phone and don't want to pay for more. So I've been going through a lot of videos and uploading things to YouTube and just like getting it off my phone. And it had me take a trip down memory lane. I made this like whole long recap video of when we won the cup and just like kind of like my perspective of it. And so just kind of like seeing where I started as a fan, not even where I started, where I was a couple years ago as a fan to now working here. I don't know. It's very, very pinch me moment all the time. As for Hubbard, I think the first time I did what we call at the studio a montage, but basically like a game recap that plays at the very first thing. Once our pregame show starts, the first time that I said, it's the Blues, it's the Bruins, and it starts now, like I grew up hearing that until like then for me to say it, it was just like, it was so cool. And then like you said, for your teachers being like, stop talking about the Blues. The second that I posted that I was an intern to the point this year that I posted that I got a full-time position at Hubbard, everybody that I went to high school with or that I could even think back, like remembering having any memory with, they were like, you deserve this. This is all I've known you wanted to do for your entire life. Like, it's just been really, really cool. So
Yeah, and I'll say again, if anyone has not seen your social media videos, you can see the passion in it.
Thank you.
It's for me, it's you see these people that sometimes are doing these videos for companies or for people that are maybe doing it for radio stations. Sometimes it's just like, well, today the St. Louis Cardinals lost to the Milwaukee Brewers. It's just like, give me something, give me some
Right.
excitement. Let me know you're excited to be there. And I feel like it does come across on yours. So I appreciate that. It makes it fun to watch. And, and I'll admit, like, the stuff that you say in those, a lot of them, I'm like, yeah, I already know all this, but I'm going to watch it anyway because she's a fun character to watch on social media. And by the way, I'll say for your other videos that you're wanting to get rid of, invest in one of these bad boys. It's an external hard drive. I've got like 4 of them. For one, this is where, for those of you who ever want to break into my house, this is where all of my NHL videos are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're aware, Jordan, but my personal YouTube channel has gobs of games that I recorded on VHS as a kid. And
wow.
I've converted them to be on YouTube now. And
That's
don't worry,
so
I
cool.
did email the NHL before I did it. And I said, can I upload these? And they said, yes. But there
Wow.
are certain games we don't want on, but YouTube knows which games those are. So they will automatically pull them down. I only had like 3 of them pulled down, but
Wow.
yeah, very
That
cool.
is so cool.
So yeah, it's been kind of cool. Like I'll post on there and, God, so many people are like, thanks for uploading this game from when I was 12. I'm 50 now, and it's like, wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad I could fulfill that for you. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah.
external hard drives.
I will say that Jeff's YouTube is I have gone back and watched games that I remember. Blues versus North Stars from 1984, right when Liut was about to get traded, and the Blues brought in Bunny Larocque as the goalie for like 2 games, and he was end of his career, very bad. I remember watching that as a kid. I'm like, why isn't Mike Liut not playing this game? So I get to go back and watch that. He's got stuff from, I think, a little bit before then all the way up through now. And
there's one from 1967, one of the first ever Blues games.
Oh my gosh, that's
because
so
what started
cool.
happening was I was just uploading the games I had, but then I had other people commenting to me like, hey, I've got games on VHS. Can I send you my VHS tapes and you can upload them? I'm like, yes. And so people started sending me their VHS tapes, and one of them had a game. It was from like December of 1967, and it was like Blues and Rangers. So I got a game on there where you can actually watch the Plager brothers play. It's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna go look at that as soon as we're done here. I will be binging all night long.
Yep. Smash that subscribe button, as the kids say. Jay Ponder 94 on YouTube. But back to you. I just so again, you've always been a hockey fan. You were telling me before, and this is going to be news to Bill, and he's going to love this, that you did not play hockey, but you have a little bit of goalie insight in your past.
Yes, I did play recreational soccer. I was a big dancer all throughout my life, but when I did play, yeah.
No.
When I did play soccer, I was the backup goalie, but my brother is a senior at Westminster, and he was actually just named the Defensive Player of the Year for his conference as the goaltender. So I've seen all of the stuff that he's gone through. He had 3 knee surgeries in 2 years, and yeah, like I love the goalie aspect. I hate being the sister of the goalie because you feel like it all rides on him, but I love the mindset and also the behind the scenes work of it too.
Well, Bill, what did I say to you last night at the second intermission? We were down by a couple. No, well, we were down by a couple goals, and I looked at him and I just said, well, Bill, clearly this is all on you because you're the goalie and you should be stopping the puck.
Yes. I'm actually like, I was in therapy today trying to get last night out of my head. So thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, it's the weight of the goaltending position, and like I've talked about it a few times. Like my dad was my biggest fan, and like to the point that it was like almost sometimes unbearable for me, like how much he would get into it. And
I know what you mean.
yeah, but it's like, all of the weight of, the game rides
Everything.
on the goalie, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome, whether it's hockey, whether it's soccer, right? That's
Yeah.
And I will say that I'm a fairly big soccer fan.
Mhm.
I love it when you see a hockey style kick save. I think you see it more now in
Yes.
soccer than you see it in the NHL.
Absolutely.
Love it.
That's funny because my mom hates it. She's like, "You're a soccer goalie. Make a soccer save." That's
Yeah.
funny.
That's awesome. Big Beaver does say in the chat here, somebody I went to high school with, Ponder was a fanatic, can confirm from a young age. He had what seemed like 10 Pronger jerseys. I don't think I have 10, but I do have one for every single team he played for, including the Whalers, which is one of my favorite jerseys. But that brings me to a question for you, Jordan, being growing up a Blues fan and maybe even now, like, getting to actually talk to some of these guys and getting to know them personally. Do you have a favorite player of all time, and who is it?
Oh, yeah. I went through phases because you can't get too attached to anybody in St. Louis.
Yep.
Ooh, we'll throw it back. My first love that I remember was Eric Boganicki. I remember,
Nice.
yeah. I
Number
remember I
33.
wanted his jersey so bad. My mom was like, it would literally take up like all your arms, like that his name would go around the whole. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want. Never got that.
Oh,
At some point, it switched to Keith Kachuk. TJ Oshie was thrown in there. Robby Fabbri. I'd say probably right now my favorite player to talk to and to watch on the ice would probably have to be Dylan Holloway.
nice.
He's very personable and like honestly keeps it real, but also like especially coming back from this injury last year, like you can just see the determination and the hard work. He reminds me a lot of Neighbors and Walker. I just don't think he plays like the same physical style. But the hard work, the dedication, the grinding every single night, he's really up there for me.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. Actually, I allow myself, because I have a ridiculous jersey collection. I allow myself to buy one jersey a year now, and I did buy the new whites, Dylan Holloway. That was my
Very
most
cool.
recent one. Yep.
Very good.
And they have lost every game that I've worn it. So, yeah. But then again, they've lost more than they've won, so maybe
I
it's
was
not
gonna
my
say
fault.
we can't blame it on any superstition right now.
That's
It's not
right.
that.
We got a couple fans chiming in. Bake Beaver says Nathan Walker is now my dude. I had my days with Schwartz and Steen. So clearly you like the hardworking guys. Matt Harris jumps in. Neighbors is the guy right now. Such a dog. And let's see. Ace jumps in and says my guy as a kid was Gary Unger. Again, another one of the most well-known, hardest working players of all time. He held the most consecutive games played streak for a while. Did he not, Bill?
He did.
Yeah.
Who was it that eclipsed him?
Eric Boganicki.
Don't think so.
Vladimir Chepeturkin.
Yes. Chubby Turkey got it.
Good old Chubby Turkey. Well, Jordan, we are honestly thrilled to have you here. We talked, I think, earlier in the season, and you were just like, because we were doing a lot of post-game shows there for a while. And so you were like, I literally, game days are just no for me. And so I'm like, Bill and I, for whatever reason, we just had so many post-game shows in a row. And I'm like, one of these days we'll do a show that's not a post-game show and we'll have you on. So that is this week. So we're very happy to have you.
Super excited.
Yep. Cool. Well, we're actually getting into some Blues talk with Jordan and Bill. Bill, I will allow you to talk now. But we are going to take our quick commercial break. And when we get back, we have got some injury news, signings, everything to talk about here with the St. Louis Blues. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to Jeff, Bill, and Jordan on Let's Go Blues Radio. We will be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What are you doing? Have you not subscribed to the Let's Go Blues Minute yet? Do it wherever you get podcasts. It provides a daily look into the St. Louis Blues, filling the gap between Let's Go Blues radio shows. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Friendster. I don't care. Just subscribe and get fresh blues content daily. Do it. Like now.
Every hockey team needs that clutch player who knows when to pass, when to shoot, and when to take charge. In real estate, that superstar is Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. Whether you're buying your first home or selling your current one, Mike skates circles around the competition with his knowledge, hustle, and down-to-earth approach. And here's the real zone ability. If you're a first responder, veteran, doctor, nurse, teacher, or even just a loyal Let's Go Blues radio listener, you'll score special rates when you work with Mike. Got questions? Fire them at him. He'll answer quicker than Bill Day's glove hand. Obstacles in your way? He'll plow through them harder than I would in a goalmouth scramble. And when it comes time to close, he'll put it in the back of the net faster than a Kurt Price shot from the slot. So don't just settle for an ordinary realtor. Get the MVP on your side. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today. Mike Burgoyne, the real estate teammate you can always count on.
Is your business wanting to advertise but not wanting to break the bank? Are you wanting to target 20 to 60-somethings for your product or service? We can help. The Let's Go Blues radio team is currently accepting new advertisers for our live shows and at our website, letsgoblues.com. Pricing starts at just $10 per month. Go to letsgoblues.com/advertising to learn more.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Well, we've got, first of all, Big Beaver says, LMAO, Bill, you can talk after this break. I'm not even going to let him talk now. That's the joke. And then Bill is, let's see. And then let's go over to Matt Harris again. Boy, you two are chatty tonight. I firmly believe that Kurt bashed Kyrou's knees in Tanya style. He is facing allegations, so that is completely possible. Jordan, that has been an ongoing joke on the show. We used to say when one of us wasn't here, we were on assignment, but then somebody said, "Hey, in today's world, you should say they're facing allegations," and I'm like, perfect. So now every time one of us is missing, they're facing allegations.
I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, and Kurt's been gone a while and facing serious allegations.
Yes, obviously, and it has something to do with Kyrou. Real quick, by the way, Jordan, I forgot to mention, I actually, so I've not listened to the Woody show since they came back.
Yeah.
But a Team Riz member right here, big fan of the show. Learn is actually, she does the voiceover for my other show, the Let's Go Blues Minute. Smash that subscribe button. Have you met Learn? Is she as cool as she seems and on the radio?
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. There's more women than you would expect, but I feel like they're a lot over on like the sales, like in the little office cubicles and such. So when you're going down the hallway and, there's Casey on WIL, but I see Learn just like in passing a lot. She's always so nice. I think she just got voted best style in the office. So
nice.
for our holiday party. So yeah, she's super, super cool.
That's awesome. So I've only talked to her over email. I met her one time at a concert. Very, very nice, but I'm always just like, because I know a couple, I don't know if you know Chris Frank, like he's a friend of ours, and and so like I've met Riz a ton of times, and you can kind of tell these people are kind of the same people they are on the radio, but I'm sure others that are not like that. So I'm kind of like, Learn, I wonder, she seems genuine, but you never really know in that industry.
Yeah, I feel like she for sure is. And I feel like nowadays it's hard to be not as genuine because people read into it so much easier, and also when you're just talking on a talk show and your natural personality is going to come out anyways, you kind of want to be the same person on and off. You want to have that credibility. You want to be reliable of what you're saying. So I think it's probably shifting. And honestly, people are just less shameful of their opinions sometimes nowadays. So if they're just kind of like this is who I am, and people are going to like it or not. So, but learn the entire ratio. Honestly, everybody in all of Hubbard is exactly who they are on air is who they are off. And everybody is so kind, has always been so welcoming and helpful to me. So it's a great place over there.
Were you lucky enough to meet Jeff Burton?
It was not. No, sadly
Oh,
not.
I met him a few times in the press box, and my word, he was just the nicest guy. You know, it was funny because, and again, not to get too much into this, but Burton, I remember, so I met him very early on in my press career, and I just told him, like, you know, I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of Jeff and Tom back in the day, and you know, and I just, you know, think that you're great. And he's like, oh, what's your name? What do you do? What company are you with? And I was at the time I was doing updates for 1380, which is not even a station anymore. And it was funny because I saw him like 4 weeks later, and he came up to me and he's like, Jeff. And first of all, I was like, he remembers my name, but I mean, I guess it is an easy name for him to remember.
True.
But yeah, right. And he's like, hey, I heard your take on this, and he like started talking about it. I go, wait, you listened? He goes, yeah, you told me what you were doing, so I wanted to give it a listen. And I'm like, holy cow, that's so cool of you.
Sweet.
So every nice story you've heard about Jeff Burton, I mean, just such a gem in the industry, and it's a real shame we lost him so early, but he definitely left a lasting impact. Actually, he's right here somewhere. Here he is.
Come on out. There he is.
Yeah.
That's
Jeff and Wheezy.
Such a great bobblehead.
Isn't it? Yep. Yeah, he's always right here with me. So,
Sweet.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So, the injury woes have continued for the Blues. Jordan Kyrou has been sidelined with a lower body injury. It was in the Ottawa game. He's been listed as week to week. And we'll talk about Nick Bjugstad in a minute because he also had an injury. But first, with Jordan Kyrou. Again, this was on Saturday. It was a collision into the boards early in the first period. He was placed on IR and listed as week to week. And so it was a play where he was hit by Stephen Halliday, and it was just 2:52 in the game. He was attended to by, obviously, Ray Barilli, and he did not return. And, yeah, for me, I wanted to ask, because I saw a lot of social media about this. A lot of people very upset with the hit itself. They said it was knee to knee. Let's get your guys' takes. Jordan, let's let you lead off. What are your thoughts on the hit itself?
To me, the intention wasn't there, but that doesn't mean that the hit wasn't knee on knee. I know that there's been a lot of comparison to Toropchenko's hit where it was a game misconduct, the penalty called, you know, there was no disciplinary action from the NHL itself, but people were kind of up in arms over Toropchenko's hit. And then it's the complete opposite when it's against Kyrou, you know? So I think if you're comparing the two hits themselves, not who's doing them or whatever like that, Toropchenko, to me, is going for the upper body. Like, he literally almost falls forward because he's trying to extend his arms and hit the upper body, where when Kyrou got hit, it kind of just looked like there was impact and kept going, you know? So, like, it to me, not saying that disciplinary action should have been taken for one or the other, but I think we could go into a whole big discussion of consistency throughout the NHL right now with the refs. But I don't know. It's a big toss up, but I don't think that there was intention there. Like, I see that comment. I think it was a good hit, but just because there is an intention doesn't mean that they didn't actually collide in a harmful way, you know?
Yep. And I agree with that. I think, and I'll say with Toropchenko especially, that one, I understood, and I've said this before about some hits. In the moment, when the referees see it without review, it looks awful.
Right.
And it's just, the referees see it, and it's, oh, that guy's getting suspended 10 games easy. But then you see it slowed down on replay, and it's like, oh, okay, like you said, I think it was more, I'm going to go hit this guy, not I'm going to slow this guy up by putting my knee into him. Right. And I kind of, similarly with the Kyrou one and Halliday, I think in the moment it was, I'm going to slow this player down. And I'm not saying anyone, well, actually I will say this, people have intentionally gone knee to knee before, but I don't think that's what Halliday was doing. I think it was a slow down movement. And I think it probably should have been a penalty. It should have at least been a 2-minute penalty, but I wasn't up in arms about it. Again, I think when you see it in real time, it's body contact. But then you see the replay and you think, yeah, that's borderline. But and again with the Toropchenko hit too, it was so late in that game that they gave him a 5-minute, and that it stinks for the Blues if you think it's deserved or not. But at the same time, it's like the NHL didn't take supplementary discipline. They said, okay, well, you know what? He served a 5-minute penalty, was kicked out of the game. Basically, time served at this point, right? And we're not going to suspend him. And I just think if Halliday would have at least gotten a 2-minute penalty, I would have been fine with that. The fact that it wasn't called, it's like, that was one of those missed calls. It wasn't an egregious missed call for me. Right. Bill, any thoughts?
Excuse me.
Bill's choking up. He's so upset about this hit.
I am, and I'm having to learn how to talk again since I was shut down earlier. I think that the Toropchenko hit was the fact that it was open ice. That's where the egregious knee-to-knee hits usually happen, and it wasn't that. I think they got the call wrong. Yeah. At most, that's a 2-minute penalty. The Holiday hit on Kyrou, I think that's more a guy following through on a hit, and it just being, the fact that he basically, if I remember it correctly, knee into upper leg into the boards, right? Yeah. And so that having, the additional impact and nowhere for the leg to go probably made the injury worse. But I think if you're going to call a 5-minute major on Toropchenko, you got to call a 2-minute penalty at least on that.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
But there's no such
games, different refs. Right. But yeah, I see your point.
Different games, different refs. But if you're going to feign the idea of consistency as a league, you got to call a penalty there. Right. But that's why so many people just comments in the chat, even about goalie interference right here. Right. It is so inconsistent. Right. So would love to see more consistency from the refs. Terribly unfortunate, for the Blues, Kyrou having a not stellar year, but a solid year. And the injury bug is really starting to mount, and it hurts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think that's the other thing that kind of compounds it for a lot of reactions on social media is, oh my God, another injury, and especially to a top 6 guy for the Blues. I know he's kind of a maligned player here in St. Louis, but at the same time, it's like, okay, these injuries need to stop at some point. And so I think that kind of was what played into it for a lot of the quick reactions from people who saw it and just, throw the book at that guy, 20 games, no, it wasn't that bad to me. It was contact, and it's just unfortunate. It was in a bad place. And again, I do agree, Bill, 2-minute penalty, I would have had no qualms at all. That's what it should have been, but they're not going to admit you can't. We all know the game moves so quick. You can't make every single call. Matt Harris in the chat. I think that if you lay any hit, you should face a suspension. How dare you try to skill it up? That is that's an old school mentality right there. Let's see. And then Ace also jumps in. Toropchenko hit, I also thought was a good hit. Yeah, I think so too. And again, I think it would have been a 2-minute penalty. I wouldn't have had any problem. The 5-minute, I thought it's a little much. But again, at the end of the game, I'm willing to look the other way for the refs. As weird as that sounds, I can't believe I'm doing that. All right, another injury that just happened last night. Nick Bjugstad was injured in the Boston loss. According to Jim Montgomery today, which I don't know if Jordan, if you were there to cover that, he said he is out, quote, at least 5 days. He was injured in the second period of Tuesday's game against Boston when Nikita Zadorov hit Bjugstad up high near the boards. He did finish his shift, but did not return to the game. And on the broadcast, I thought Joey Vitale did a good job of they kind of had an ISO on Bjugstad after the hit. He did not look right. It was one of those things where Bill, he kind of looked like one of us out there, right? Like he just looked like a beer league player that didn't know what he was doing, like I'm going to go over here and cover this guy. Now I'm going to skate this way. And it was just, you could tell he was not all like, I don't want to say wasn't all there, but he was clearly not himself. And I was happy when he went down the tunnel. I thought that is a situation that the coaching staff needs to pull him off and say, go sit in the dark room for a couple minutes and let's have a conversation. And did not come back after that. So unfortunate. Elbow, I thought, was a little high from Zadorov on that hit.
Yeah, and Zadorov's a guy that's got a reputation for dirty play over the years. Obviously, the man is a massive wall of humanity, and throws his weight around effectively. But I thought head was principal point of contact. Bjugstad might have been a little bent over going into it, but should have. With all of the other games that we've seen recently where they have not called something in the moment and then gone back and said 4-minute double minor, let's take a look at this.
Yeah.
Again, Blues don't get that benefit. Thought it should have happened. But yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't able to be there today. They were supposed to skate at 12:30, which is, a little bit before the Woody show starts. So I'm there doing that prep. But listening to Monty's presser, it doesn't sound like they actually practiced today. If anything, it was an optional. He made a comment, I would have loved to practice today, but we're basically just too banged up. So he said, players that are still playing are playing with aches and bruises, to say the least. So I think, it's just like one after another, like you said. I feel like 2 weeks ago we were rotating all of these forwards and being like, who's going to be in the lineup tonight? Like, who's the 3 healthy scratches of our forwards? And now we're signing people left and right to try and get some offense back in this place.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and I have to ask, especially you, Bill, being a Jordan, his girlfriend team, as I call it. So his second favorite team, not married to them, but sees this other team on the side. Sorry, that's very sexist, but that's always been a phrase I've used since I was a kid, is the Montreal Canadiens. So I kind of thought when this all happened, I thought Alexander Texier, like he'd still be here and he'd be playing probably top 6 minutes at this point.
Right. And look what he's doing in a top 6 role with the Montreal Canadiens. Right. He's been a very effective player. If they didn't have a couple injuries, Kirby Dach especially, I don't think Montreal signs Texier, but man, he's fitting in pretty well there and would look really good right now to have him as one of the extra bodies. But yeah,
bring back Brandon Saad.
Can we undo these contract terminations?
Yeah, hey, we've decided to revoke the undoing of the contract. Those guys have to come back to us now.
You know who
while
I
we're
miss?
at it.
You know who I miss? Tyler Bozak.
Me too.
He
love
just
Tyler.
He won the cup and just kind of stopped playing hockey. I miss Molly, his wife, made all these margaritas all the time. She would always post about it. I miss Tyler Bozak. I really do.
The what a trip. He will forever be cemented on my wall for the what a trip.
Yes.
One of my favorite calls, or one of my favorite newspaper headlines of all time. I mean, who wrote that?
It's got to be Jim Thomas.
Yeah, that would have to be Jim Thomas, right? Or one of the editors, I guess. Actually, do they even have editors anymore? I don't even know.
Back then, they probably still had one, but now it's AI.
I like how you say back then. It was 6 years ago.
We
it's a
are
big difference nowadays.
It
is.
I guess. In the era of, AI is going to do everybody's job now. So,
yep. Oh, that's a good point here. I forgot about that. AC says Holloway absolutely smashed Texier in that game. Was awesome. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I did enjoy that. Nothing against Texier. I just thought it was funny. Like, hey, we were just playing together a week ago, but I'm gonna crunch you as hard as I can into the boards. Just shows the hockey player mentality. So again, with these injuries, the Blues have recalled Hugh McGing from the AHL Springfield Thunderbirds. This was on Monday. McGing is 27, played 18 games so far for the Thunderbirds. He has 4 goals and 6 points with 25 penalty minutes. He is a Chicago native, unfortunately. He's totaled 156 points in, 298 AHL games. And for those of you that remember, he dressed for spanning over 2 seasons, 6 career regular season games with the Blues, formerly a 5th-round pick of the Blues in 2018. He has not seen the ice. I figured they wouldn't see him because they had the back-to-back wins, and then he was called up before the Boston game, and I thought they're not going to make any lineup changes. But again, with Bjugstad out, I think we will probably see him tomorrow night. So Hugh McGing, a guy that was, kind of a Blues prospect there for a little while, and you love seeing these success stories of, as much as we've complained about some of the things Tyler Tucker has done in his short career, a 7th-round pick, that's really impressive. And then McGing being a guy who was a 5th-round pick, being able to, and probably going to get some time and some valuable minutes here for the Blues in the NHL. So we'll see what he can bring to the Blues lineup.
Yeah, I don't know. I know for sure, and we'll get to one of the signings that was made today. I know for sure we'll see a new/old face in the lineup tomorrow. I expected McGing to make it into the lineup on what's today? Wednesday?
Yeah. Tuesday?
Monday? Yeah, Tuesday, yesterday,
Yeah.
Tuesday. Thank you. My days are very long. But like you said, it made sense to not switch anything up. And honestly, I don't know when he got in and like how long he's been practicing with them. I could see him making it into the lineup tomorrow, but with that signing and joining in Nashville, I don't know for sure. But I'm excited to see what he can bring this time around.
Yep. Agree. So we've got Baked Beaver agrees with you on Bozak. Love that guy, and do miss him and Molly as well. And then Ace over in the chat, is there a reason they are not bringing up Stenberg at all? And of course, he's talking about Otto Stenberg. My thought process on that is, I'll admit, I saw him in training camp in preseason, and I was not impressed with what I saw. Nothing against him. I think it's just, growing pains. So my thought is the Blues are probably considering he's getting top minutes where he's playing right now. So, he's not going to get those in the NHL, even with the injuries. So I think it's just better served for him to continue to grow his game. And maybe we'll see him with the Blues next season.
I agree.
Yeah. As we've mentioned, big news for anyone who is a fan of some of the Cup team players, which obviously we all are. The Blues did sign Robby Fabbri to a 1-year, 2-way contract. Let's go ahead and talk about Fabbri first. He in the NHL level will make $775,000. In the AHL, he'll make $300,000, and he will joining the Blues on Thursday in Nashville. So you're right, Jordan. I think we will probably see him crack the lineup. He was originally drafted by the Blues in the 1st round, same year as Ivan Barbashev. In 2014, spent the parts of his first 4 seasons in St. Louis. And obviously, we all know the accolades he's done. This season, he has been playing hockey. He's played 2 games for the Charlotte Checkers of the AHL, and he's recorded a goal and an assist. He's spent time with the Blues, Red Wings, and Anaheim Ducks. He has 216 points in 442 career NHL games. So, Robby Fabbri, a familiar face. So some of these guys like Oscar Sundqvist, Justin Falk, they will all remember this fella. So, it'll be kind of fun to see him back in a Blues lineup. Maybe he's not the player he was, but at this point, and I saw people saying, of course, you always got the social media experts that are, Stanley Cup, here we come. And it's like, this team is so riddled with injuries. You got to find somebody. Why not get a guy, to me, who already knows a lot of the players, is familiar with the city, and there's going to be fans, I think like the 3 of us, that are going to be happy to see him come back.
Yeah, I mean, he's making, league minimum, right? Probably isn't going to be able to bust out a bottle of Pappy after a win like he did in the Stanley Cup aftermath. So, but how different would his career have been had he not had that second knee surgery in training camp, right? He was 21st overall selection by the Blues. We've had really good success drafting in that part of the draft, and he looked like a sure hit, but the injuries took him out. And so to me, I love the idea that he gets a chance to, do I think he'll be here at the end of the season once people are healthy? Probably not, but it's kind of nice to be able to, revisit that era, and hopefully, he can contribute a little bit and, make some old jerseys relevant again.
Yeah, right.
I got one hanging up there with his number on the back. It's great.
Nice.
I was watching a compilation of all the goals that he scored last year. I think he had 8 goals in 44 NHL games with the Ducks, and there were a few that were right in front of the net where Jim Montgomery wants his forwards to be. There were a couple like on 2-on-1 rush chances where he's just letting that one-timer rip as soon as he gets that puck. There was also a one-timer that he had from below the face-off dots, and it, goalie had absolutely no chance. So I feel like if he is going to produce for the Blues, he's going to do it in the way of leading by example of what Monty wants his team to look like. And I think it's, he's small, he's mighty, he's gonna be physical where he can, but watching him score those net front goals, he was taking whacks, he was getting pushed around and still found a way to beat the goalie in such short proximity. So I think if he's gonna produce, it's gonna be a good step in the right direction for the Blues for sure.
So this comes from a Tanya Davies. Very insightful discussion. If only some of our guys could take lead and fill the roles they get paid to play. Yes, that is surprisingly insightful from my sister, Tanya, actually, is who that is. So thank you for tuning in. It is Tanya. I was being silly. She is not a hockey fan, so I don't know where she's getting her information. I guess she probably hears me murmuring at the house about how, when we're at my mom's house, about how horrible this team is. So yeah, you're learning from me. See, I knew you would. Yeah. So no, and again, I'm just happy to see him play. And by the way, those of you who are wondering, if you have Fabbri jerseys, 15 is available, and I did look it up on the Blues site, and he is listed as 15. So he will be wearing his old jersey, which is very cool.
So excited.
It's only right. I mean, can you imagine if it was taken by a more senior player, and then he's like, telling Kessel, "Hey, I want 51. You got to change your number now, buddy."
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen for a guy who's coming in, to fill a hole at this point.
Oh, no,
that
that's
would be a
Stanley
pretty
Cup
awesome
champion. That's a Stanley
true.
Cup champion right
That's
there.
true.
Oh boy, I gotta do the gesture here. Hockey is in my top 6 or 7 sports to watch. You know what? I think this is my niece. Megan, because she has the worst humor ever.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kidding. I love you, Megan, but you suck. Yeah. So, yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see him play. He's not what he was. Let's not make any claims about that. But at the same time, I mean, right now, and I always say this about hockey, right? It's entertainment. At the end of the day, like, these people who get so up in arms and are like getting mad when they lose or when they win because they're just like, oh, we should be tanking. It's like, you really are entertained by losses. Like, to me, seeing Robby Fabbri come back and play for the Blues, I'm excited for it. So, just to see him back with the Blues, it's going to be a kind of a full circle moment, I think, for him, which would be great.
Yeah. A point that I was trying to make but couldn't get there. So thank you.
There you go. Glad I could do that for you. So the Blues also announced, I think they announced it today, right? They signed Dillon Dube to a AHL professional tryout. Dube will report to Springfield upon receiving his work visa. The 27-year-old most recently played for Minsk Dynamo in the KHL, recording 11 points and 25 penalty minutes. He's from British Columbia, and he was drafted by the Flames in the second round, 56th overall in 2016. Over 6 seasons with the Flames, he's totaled 127 points, including 57 goals and 105 penalty minutes in 325 regular season games. If you're wondering why this guy was available, it's because he was one of the players that was involved in the, I guess the proper way to say it, the allegations about what happened with Hockey Canada. So him, Carter Hart, the other players were all found to have not, I guess, found innocent. I don't know if that's the proper terminology with the way things went. It's a tough thing to talk about for me because I am still on the bandwagon of Joel Quenneville should not be in the NHL. Stan Bowman should not be in the NHL. Yes, these guys were, I guess, found innocent, but to me, the way that this Hockey Canada, to me, and Bill, if you feel differently, please let me know. They fumbled so much of this investigation. There were text messages that were just ignored between these players. I'm not happy with this. I hope at the very most he plays in the AHL and we never see him. But at the very least, I hope he's let go, and I hope these injuries come back and we don't have to see Dube in a Blues jersey. That's all I'll say for now. We'll see if he signs with the Blues. I'm sure I'll voice more opinions about this type of thing. But for me, this is one of the times where I'm actually rooting against a player in the Blues organization. Bill, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping the Blues would be able to steer clear of any of the players involved with the whole thing. When the story was breaking, and I know we had a couple of shows where we talked about it fairly at length. And Ken Morris actually suggested to go and watch the CBC documentary that they had on it. And that was before the trial was complete, and so I did that, and it was very.
Did they talk about the investigation itself?
Yeah, and
Okay.
But it was, I think, a lot. It was a several part thing. Part of it was the investigation. Part of it was the culture of Hockey Canada. And I'll say the one good thing is that it did lead to a lot of change of the leadership of Hockey Canada. But as far as the players that were involved, especially in the wake of, like you said, Quenneville, right? We've had several shows where we've talked about how he should never be allowed back in an NHL arena in an official capacity. I feel like what we're getting out of all of this with these guys being allowed to come back is just not the culture that I would want to see in the NHL. Like, let's actually, yes, they were cleared in a criminal court, but let's take a little bit more of a conservative approach to bringing them back, right? And it feels too quick.
Yeah, I'll say I did see a comment today on social media when somebody commented, kind of what we're saying, that, don't like this, and somebody responded, he was found innocent. And the guy responded back and said, so was OJ. And I'm like, yeah, that's 100% factual. We all know, sorry, I think it's pretty common knowledge at this point, OJ Simpson did it.
Lorne Michaels is going to fire you after the show.
Yes. Yeah. Me and, I was going to say me and Norm, but unfortunately he's no longer with us. But yeah, that's, real quick story about that. Did you know, because I'm a huge Norm Macdonald fan. I don't know if you knew that. It was heartbreaking losing him in this world. But did you know that when he came back and hosted, that he had a monologue that he was doing in rehearsal, but he wrote a completely separate monologue, and he was surprised everyone with it the night that he recorded the show. And it was literally just, yeah, I was fired because I made fun of OJ. And Lorne literally told him before the show, do not mention OJ.
Yep.
He went on a rant about how he was fired for OJ. And I'm like, oh, I love you, Norm Macdonald. You are so funny.
Yeah.
But I will say, and again, and Matt Harris, you didn't know this? Yes, Norm Macdonald unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it did happen like 4 years ago.
You just ruined a man's night.
Yes, I did. And I hate to say this, but because this is probably why you might have seen me chuckle during your conversation or your talk there,
why
Bill.
you're laughing at me.
I know, and
Jackass.
it was the worst timing, but what Matt Harris said is so funny, and I got to give him comment of the show.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
So this is the comment of the show. An insider let me know the Blues are planning to sign the Stingray that killed Steve Irwin to a PTO next week. Oh, that's so funny and terrible. All right, let's move on. So we do have some games, and we'll briefly touch on the games, but I'm more worried about just kind of talking about the state of the St. Louis Blues right now because we're past the Thanksgiving break. We've got a ton of injuries piling up, and the Blues are honestly kind of surprisingly right there in the playoff race. So I think this is a good time to kind of just reflect on what we've seen, and having Jordan here, getting her opinion, I think it's a good time for us to do this too. So this is the state of the Blues as far as we see it. Right now, they're 11, 13, and 7. They're 6th in the Central, also 6th in the wild card race. I did not update this before the show, so I don't know if that's changed.
So I'll do a live update while you keep going.
Oh, well, go ahead. Yeah. Are you looking now?
So,
I got her pulled up.
As of right now,
tied for 5th is what they are.
Tied for 5th. There's one game that will impact it, and that is the Panthers and the Mammoth tied at 3, 8 minutes to go. So that goes overtime. We're a point further out.
Okay, so yeah, right now they are they're 29th. So yes, they are 3 points out of currently 3 points. Yeah, because Edmonton has 32. So they're 3 points out of a playoff spot, the second wild card spot, also the first, which surprisingly the Blackhawks are still holding down. I don't understand how that's happening, but we'll break that down on another show.
Well, they got a nice shutout from Spencer Knight tonight over the Rangers. Only thing I'll say about that game, apart from Spencer Knight getting my fantasy team a shutout, another great example of the NHL doing color on color in a national broadcast game.
Yes.
Blackhawks were wearing the Reds. The Rangers were wearing the Blues. Absolutely.
They've been listening
beautiful.
to me, Bill. They're listening to me, Bill. I'm telling you.
They're getting your producer notes.
I have been preaching that, Jordan, for like 10 years on this show. Like, why do we not have color on color games? Like, I'm so tired of every Blues home game is blue on white. Give me a blue on green. Give me a blue on red. Like, aesthetically, it's just so much more pleasing to me.
That's crazy. I've never heard that pitch, but I kind of like that. I've heard for so long that the whites should be the home uniform.
Well, that too.
I agree with that as well.
Yes, that too. We are definitely on board with that.
I agree.
But
I will say, as someone who's played the game, and I'm sure people who haven't played understand this too, that when you're on the ice, I think hockey more than any other sport, it's important to make sure you have diversity in the jerseys, right? Because Bill, I don't know if you played for us or not, but there's in the summer league, we have to wear the jerseys the league gives us. And so when H&A provides us jerseys, for some reason, because they get like 18 different jersey colors, for some reason, they always put the light green and the dark green in the same freaking division. So we have to play each other like 4 times in the summer season. And it's impossible sometimes because you make a pass and you're like, oh man, I'm going to hit this guy on a breakaway. Oh, wait, that's the other team's defenseman. So I get like having a little bit of concern with that. But again, we're not saying that I don't know, the Red Wings and the Blackhawks need to wear their red jerseys against each other. Blues, Blackhawks, give me red on blue the entire night. Like, that to me is really cool to see. We saw the Rangers and was it the Bruins that did it earlier this season?
Rangers, Red Wings.
Yeah, Red
the
Wings.
first one. Yeah.
And that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
I like that.
So that's cool. But anyway, so yeah, current injuries right now. We mentioned a couple of them already. Guys that are out, Nick Bjugstad and Alexei Toropchenko on the IR currently, Jordan Kyrou, Jimmy Snuggerud, and Nathan Walker. We've seen a couple guys step up, Kaskamaki, Matt Luff, and now we're probably going to see Hugh McGing drawn in the lineup and Robby Fabbri. So there's a lot of injury issues here with this team, but outside of the injuries, my biggest question for you guys is, again, with this team being 11, 13, and 7, still in it, but I don't think they're right where any of us thought they'd be. When you watch this team, what do you think is our biggest issue right now? And I'll start with Jordan.
Biggest issue is consistency. I get asked, what's your prediction for tonight? And I'm like, I literally don't know. I don't know what team you're going to get out there. Sometimes the team that you get in the first period is completely different than the second. And Alex Ferrario asked Steve Ott last night about the second period woes and how to pinpoint what specific thing is going wrong with it. And he's like, basically, if we knew how to fix it, we would. It's hard to pinpoint what's going on, but that second period is really rough for them. And then just the overall consistency. I know it's very difficult to develop chemistry and develop consistency when the lines are being shuffled all the time. You got all these injuries, people coming in and out, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, every single team is dealing with that. You just have to figure out a way to make it work. And I think doing the same thing every day, like hearing Jordan Binnington talk about like his structure and his day-to-day work. And, even after that game that he got pulled after 2 shots, 10 minutes in, it was an optional skate the next day, and writers were talking to him, and he was like, whether we won, lost last night, whether I got pulled or not, I was coming in and practicing the exact same way that I planned to do it today, So I think everybody having that consistency of whether it's a day off, whether it's a game day, whether, you're just practicing, you're just traveling, having consistency throughout your schedule, your process, hopefully would translate better on the ice. And like I said, I know it's hard with all of the inconsistencies in the lineup, but you have to find a way to make it work.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I think that for me, the inconsistency is that I agree. That's the problem, that we see this team and we've always said, we feel like this team doesn't play a full 60. We've always said on the show that that's just kind of a cliche, like fan response to, they didn't play well because they gave up 2 goals in 15 minutes. So they didn't do that, they would have won. Well, yeah, that's any hockey team. If you don't allow goals, you're going to win. But for me, it's not even, it's not that they're playing poorly. It's that they start to change the way they play. I feel like, especially when they have a lead. And we've said this before, that all teams kind of, by default mentally fall back in this defensive mindset. And it's completely, it's every sport. You see it in football, you see it in baseball. It's more, we need to focus on our defensive game. And I totally get that. But for the Blues, back in the day of even the early Craig Berube days, it was always like, hey, we're up by 2, make it 4, make it 5. And I think this team, they say that, but it just feels like, okay, they got this lead. Now they're really starting to kind of sit back a little bit. Like they're getting the puck into the blue line and dumping it, instead of, hey, get it into the blue line and have somebody forecheck and then dump it. It's just these little nuances of the game, I feel like, changes as they start to, whether they're down a goal, up a goal. For me, it's like you play the same consistent way, whether you're up 1, down 5, or up 18. It doesn't matter. Play the same way, play your game, and you're going to come out consistent. You're going to come out with a win most of the time.
Yeah, I think that, those are great points. the team seemed to start playing with an identity in the last two games. And I think, Jordan, you brought it up, before. It was like, who's going to be in, who's going to be out? There's so many bodies here. And it seemed like they were having to, simplify and boil the game down to very basic parts just to get through a game because of all the injuries, and that they seem to become more effective, at least after the Boston game, right? Going to Ottawa, have a great game. Going to Montreal, not a great first period, but the start to the second period, they came out with a purpose. Players were, playing to their strengths, but also helping out defensively and coming back and really helping in the D zone. Like that's something I think has been missing from this team most of the season. And I thought it was interesting last night on the broadcast, listening to, I don't know if it was Alex during the intermission or if it was Curbs and Joey, but they talked about Binnington and his off-season routine and how he changed everything because the Blues are so bad at giving up backdoor chances, right? And if the goalie knows that and is changing his routine, maybe that's something systematic you should probably address and not rely on the goalie to make all the changes. I don't know. That's just a goalie talking, but I think we've seen them better in not giving up those opportunities as often with the last few games, right? I think that has kind of come out. The two games against Boston, obviously, Boston's got our number this year, whatever. I would like to see that if they can do that again tomorrow night, right? Get back to where they were in Montreal. They're back on the road. Only game on the road for 5. So
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, that would be huge.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jordan.
I think it's important that tomorrow should be like that. You're against Nashville, bottom of the league team. It makes to me, those Boston losses make sense. They are simply a more physical, more structured, faster team. They're just better right now, and I think that's okay to say. But if you get the same result tomorrow against Nashville, a team that you should beat, there's no easy teams in the NHL right now,
Right.
But I agree. That's when you should have carried that momentum from Montreal all the way to Nashville.
Yep. So we got I think this is a new live listener, Top GJP. I think that stands for Top Goalie Jeff Ponder. That's what I'm going to guess. Even though I've only played 3 games as a goalie and lost them. Anyway, we need to rebuild our defense, and we need a superstar either by trade or from within. And he also adds Fowler has not been good this year, and D Brown S 1480 says that Fowler extension, DA Doug Armstrong cannot help himself. And I didn't mean to pull this one up, but we're going to do it anyway. A says we should smash tomorrow, even with the injuries. I like that, smash, because Smashville.
Yeah.
Very clever. What a clever audience we have here at Let's Go Blues Radio. But yeah, I'll say, I think that, Bill, you mentioned the defense. That is, to me, and I said this earlier in the season, I ran through some of the analytics, and it was like the Blues offense, their offensive zone time was number 2 in the NHL. Their shots or quality chances for was in the top 5. And I think we've seen the offense fall back a little bit because I think a large part because of the injuries and the just every game. It seems like they have to have different lines, mostly because of injuries. But I think the offense, I'm really not concerned about. It's the defense. And I'll say, too, that earlier in the year, I was concerned about the goaltending. Excuse me. But even with that performance that Jordan mentioned earlier with Binnington, the 2 goals on 5 shots, goaltending's not bothering me right now. Hofer's played fantastic. Binnington's played well. I don't think he's been as good as Hofer, but he's played well. It's the defense. Cam Fowler, we called out earlier, not looking good right now. I think Philip Broberg he's been showing it with his ice time minutes. Philip Broberg has been fantastic. Parayko's, I think, shown better the last couple weeks. But, I mean, and Falk, I think Falk's played fine, too. It's the bottom pairing and Cam Fowler that are really causing concern for me right now.
Yeah, Cam Fowler being paired with Logan Mailloux now, right? That is looking at the hockey stat cards for last night. You know, they were the two worst of the D out there. Mailloux had his worst game since his call up. Wouldn't be surprised if Kessel draws back in and you've got Tucker and Kessel paired back again and give Falk a chance with Fowler. But yeah, the Blues goaltending, the Athletic had an article this week about goaltending tandems, and the Blues are the worst. I think that was in Down Goes Brown's article, his nice comedic take at the beginning of the week. But yeah, the Blues goaltending statistically, tandem wise, is the worst in the league, but they are not the two worst goalies in the league, right? They have played very well. Their team has just let them down time and time again.
Yes.
I'm not saying that because I'm a goalie.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, I'm a defenseman, although I practiced as a forward recently. Scored a goal last night, Bill. How about that?
I gave up 9.
Oh no!
It was Jeff's fault.
I'm clipping that off. That was great.
Yes.
I gave up 9.
No, it was,
yes, you did.
it was
But-
it was bad. It was bad.
Oh, it was not all you. Yes, there was maybe 8 of those, but the other one was us. I'm just kidding. No, Bill was fine.
I think what has been why the goaltending showed so much and why people, of course, wanted to complain about it in the beginning is because you usually fall back on it. You know, when your team hasn't been playing well in front of you, Binnington makes those timely saves. Joel Hofer can step in when Binnington's getting tired, you know, and finally, all of a sudden, they're like, hey, we actually deserve to struggle too. We're going to let a few go in, and you guys are just going to have to deal with it because we're getting left all behind back here by ourselves. You know, like, did they go through their own slump? Absolutely. Have they gotten out of it? I think so. I think there's maybe another little step or two that they can reach that level again. I mean, Hofer's 40 save game the other day, like absolutely insane. But then of course, like, it brings up the controversy of the goaltending. Like, it doesn't have to be 1A, 1B, every other. Like, David Alexander, that goaltending coach, talks with that coaching staff all the time. Like, anytime that there's a shootout, he's always down on the bench, or like, if you know you're going to overtime, you know, like, he's so involved. He works so well with those goaltenders and knows what they need. And he's actually one of like the most involved coaches at practice, like dropping pucks, skating around, doing all of this stuff. So they know what they're doing. They've got it all under control. But I think why people have been so taken aback by the early struggles of the goaltending is because they've always been there to save you in the end. And finally, they're just like, hey, we're all going to struggle together and it's going to be okay.
Right. Well, and that's something I said, I think, earlier this year. And I know, Bill, you've said basically the exact same thing, that like sometimes, you know, your team's struggling and you look at the goalie and you say, get us out of this. Like, have a 42 save shutout, you know, have a 50 save performance. Like, we need you to stand on your head tonight to help get us out of the slump. But it goes both ways. It's a two-way relationship. If the goalie's struggling, you got to step up defensively. You got to score the goals. And early in the year, the Blues were not doing that. It was, yeah, we might score 3 goals, but we're allowing 30 shots, and our goalies are not at their top performance right now. So nobody was picking up the other end of the ice. And for me, I feel like now the goaltending is doing that, like we've seen them do before. But and I know, and again, I know injuries have played a big part, and you know, I know I'm not trying to use that as a crutch for this team, but like now it's like, okay, because honestly, a lot of the issues we're seeing is team defense, and a lot of that is your defenseman. I think Pius Suter has been such a good back checking forward. I think we've seen Robert Thomas not play as well defensively as he has in the past. Guys like Pavel Buchnevich are still playing okay defensively, but you know, we're seeing a lot of just dumb mistakes that are leading to goals. And, it's like you can't really blame the goalie on a shot that he doesn't see because it's 5 guys are standing in front of him and nobody's blocking the shot. So, but I will say, as much as I've talked poorly on Tyler Tucker, he made an incredible play last night on a diving poke check. 2 swipes, loved it. I'm like, and again, Bill, I've done that in beer league, and I end up getting a slashing call because I nailed somebody in the back of the leg. Oops. But Tyler Tucker, the way he did that was perfect and might have even saved him a goal. And I think at the time it was a 2-2 at the time. So it was a very big moment for the Blues. So we're seeing moments that are great, but I feel like there's a lot of times it's like, tighten up, boys. There's too much running around and not picking up the loose man.
Well, and I feel like that could also be, I'm not sure exactly. I think it was that Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, trip where they switched from zone coverage to man-to-man. So they have gone to man-to-man defense, which Monty talked about yesterday, how, offense doesn't come as fast when you're going man-to-man. It's harder to like break out, there's not as much space and all of that stuff. But when you switch to that man-to-man, you should be tighter defensively, right? And I think you have seen, obviously, like the goaltending has gotten better because there's been improvements made defensively. But like you said, like it's just, it all comes back to consistency, like doing that same thing every single shift and knowing that's your guy. You're staying on that guy until you got the puck, and then you're going out the opposite way, So I think it's definitely trending in the right direction. We just got to get it consistently.
So my next question about this, I'm going to say we are going to roll in the previous Blues games because I don't want to keep Jordan too long because I know you have a crazy busy schedule. And, Bill, you work a job too, I believe. So I know you got to get to PT so you can bounce for him soon. So we will start to wrap up. Bill's the muscle of the podcast. So in terms of positives of what we're seeing, again, I'm rolling in some previous Blues games here. Hofer, we mentioned the goaltending, the 41 save performance, most saves I believe he's made in an NHL game so far in his career, which is very impressive. Jake Neighbors scored his first 2 goals in a while, 7th and 8th the other night. And then Dylan Holloway had a goal and 2 assists in the Canadiens win. That was his first. That's true. He also had that was a great save. Oh man, that was a great play. And that's what I'm talking about. The back checking is what you need on this team. And goalies were not getting bailed out at all earlier this season. Now we're seeing plays like that more often. Pavel Buchnevich laid out and made a really nice block. What game was that? It was recently. I think it was last week. Seattle? Did they play Seattle last week?
No,
I don't know.
It's been a couple weeks.
Maybe Utah. Might have been Utah. I don't know.
Utah game,
yeah.
Okay. That's what it was.
Another great Joel Hofer performance.
Yes, exactly. A revenge game for him after the horrible performance he had earlier this year. But yeah, we saw, and Matt Luff is stepping in, got 2 blocked shots. So we're starting to see these guys step in and have big games. Buchnevich, very important to mention here, I think. 5 points in a 4-game point streak. A guy that I'll admit I have been calling to just put on waivers lately. He's looked fantastic the last couple games. He's not fumbling pucks as much. His pass to Thomas on his second goal last night was incredible. Great forechecking, knocking the puck down. Just there's a lot of positives. We're starting to see these guys, and Robert Thomas alone, the 2 goals last night. We're starting to see some of this offense round out and play how we know they can. I think Philip Broberg is a guy, again, that I think has been strong all season. So there are some strengths here. I know it's very easy to look at the record and say this team is not winning. They're bad and we need to burn it all down. But I do think we are seeing some positives here. What have you guys noticed?
Yeah. I think to me, again, sorry, goaltending. Joel Hofer is trending in the right direction. He has had, for me, the 4 best performances. Obviously, Ottawa, even though he didn't get the shutout, didn't get the goal. missed by inches. That would have been amazing. It's going to happen this year. A Blues goalie is going to get a goalie goal this year. And it's going to be Hofer because Binnington won't try it, right?
He tried it the other night.
He tried it, but he's had so many more opportunities and he's been timid about doing it. We'll see.
By the way, Jordan, we fully celebrate goalie goals on this. Anytime there's a goalie goal in any league, like there was a game in Switzerland a couple of years ago, and Bill was like, we were in the middle of a serious discussion. Bill goes, "Wait, goalie goal! We have a goalie goal!" And we instantly switched to talking about some Swiss goalie scoring.
Yeah, no, that was Carl Lindbaum.
Carl Lindbaum, his Swedish famous product, Jordan.
Yes.
Carl Lindbaum. Then this was a late night. I think we started pretty late that night, and we had a late night
log show.
Yes, and we said that Carl Lindbaum should make a product called Car Lip Balm, where you could put on your car if you had a dent. It's Car Lip Balm from Carl Lindbaum.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And he is going to make the NHL in the next year or two. Vegas, I believe.
Vegas, yeah, you're right. Yep, he's a Vegas prospect. So, but yes, so we fully support goalie goals.
Absolutely.
And so let me ask you this, Bill and Jordan, please weigh in too. What are we going to see first? An official Jordan Binnington fight or a Joel Hofer goal?
Joel Hofer goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're never going to let Binnington go. Like, if Binnington did what Hofer did the other night, sticking up for his teammate, completely different reaction from everybody. Like, from everybody that would have been, it wasn't even talked about in the NHL when Hofer stuck up for Broberg and, honestly threw some punches. I was surprised it was just a roughing call, honestly. So, I mean, I know there were only 7 seconds left and whatever, but, if that was Binnington, that would have been a whole different situation. So I don't think they'll ever actually let Binnington fully fight. So I would also say the Joel Hofer goal.
Yeah, his opportunity was the Fleury incident that they pulled him away.
I wanted that so bad. I was there. I stood up, you're up in press row. We talked about it, Jeff. Yeah. You keep your cool, and that fan took over me that day. I was like, let him go.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually driving back from one of my my beer league games, and I was listening on the radio and hearing Kerber just go, "Oh, what's this? Oh, and Fleury's coming down." I'm like, "Why am I not home watching this right now?"
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, that was great. And Big Beaver, what is this? Goalie goals are fucking epic. Hush your mouth, Ponder. When did I badmouth goalie goals? Calm down, Beaver. And I'm even upsetting Bill's dog over there.
Yes. Yes, they are going to start interrupting here, I think. So
well, we will make this very quick here with the wrap up of the show. So I just want to ask you guys real quick too. Last question I'll ask. Do you stand? I don't know what your preseason prediction was, Jordan. I'm sure you had to do it at some point with your job, but for me, Bill, I think I got this right. Didn't you say 5th place and in the playoffs for the Blues?
Because that's the closest to where they are. Yes, that's what I said.
I believe that's what you said. Yeah.
Actually, I think I said they were going to be 3rd, and Winnipeg was going to be the team that fell out.
Okay.
So.
I know I said 3rd for the Blues. So do you stand by those predictions, Bill? Do you stand by the Blues are 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or whatever you said?
No. It's going to. I think they're going to wind up missing. They'll be right outside the second playoff or the second wild card spot, and it's going to be because of the Pacific Division, not because of the Central Division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Jordan?
I had them fighting for that wild card spot. If they were gonna get in, it would be in that last one. I just don't see it happening. Even when you get healthy and it's just if everybody's in the fight right now, you're only 2 points out, you're only 3 points out. Everybody is right now, and then I mean Western Conference is keeping them in it. There's not a lot of not a lot of good things happening. Like everyone's just going through their spells. Utah went through it a little bit. Chicago's back to 500 hockey. So like they're keeping you in it, but my prediction at the beginning of the season was fighting for that wild card spot because I'm always going to root for playoffs, but I just don't see it happening this year. I think we're definitely in the retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, and nobody just wanted to accept it at the beginning of the season.
Bake Beaver, I need clarity here. He says second spot. You heard it from me. Are you talking about second in the Central or the second wild card? Second in the Central. Holy cow. I don't know about that. Dallas and Colorado are kind of running away with the division. So
yeah.
Don't know about that.
That's
we'll see.
Right. So that's your, you scratch and claw to get the second wild card spot only to get Dallas or Colorado. Like
Right.
that's a treat.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we saw some crazy stuff last year with the run after the Four Nations tournament, and there's a bigger break this year with the Olympics, and who knows what happens with injuries. Especially with this crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen the stuff about the rink size in Milan.
Yes.
So could that lead to some injuries? I think if there's any chance of that, the players don't go. Which would be insane. I can't see that happening.
Your dog agrees.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Dexter agrees.
Yeah, no, Dexter's Kurt's dog.
What am I thinking?
Yeah, that was Sheldon.
Sheldon. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Sheldon.
Yep.
Yes.
Ace says that the Blues are gonna make it with another run of at least 10 in a row starting late January. We'll see. They can't rely on that every year.
Exactly.
That can't keep happening.
Exactly.
Yep. And Big Beaver did clarify, second wild card, I'm not that baked. Yeah, well, I question that, Big Beaver. All right, cool. Well, again, we went through, the Blues have been 2-1 since the last show we did. 2 wins over the weekend, and of course, lost to the Bruins last night. Again, mentioned Buchnevich, 2 assists against the Bruins, and Thomas with 2 goals. So some good games all around for the Blues. I mean, last night kind of got away from them in the third period. Actually, they were beaten a lot in the second period, but I thought overall, you're not going to win them all. Boston's a good team. They got David Pastrnak back, and he had, 3 assists in the game. Just a tough night for the Blues. But overall, since the last show, 2-1, that's a positive for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Those 2 games in Canada were amazing. Unfortunately bookended by just a better team beating them. Boston is, especially with Pastrnak, like it's superstar who played a superstars game last night, and he was definitely a difference maker, the kind the Blues don't have this year.
Yep. Next up for the Blues, Thursday, December 11th in Nashville. That's tomorrow night, 7:00. Friday, they return home. Like Bill said, they've got their next 4 or 5 at home after that. Friday, they play December 12th, so back-to-back versus Chicago. Then on Monday, they return to Enterprise Center, and they face again with Nashville, but this time at home. Wednesday, they play the Winnipeg Jets at 7:00, and then Thursday, they play the Rangers in the second of a back-to-back at 7:00 at Enterprise Center. So some big games coming up. Pretty much the next 4 or 5 are against Central Division. We'll probably have a show for you, I would guess, Tuesday, but I don't know. Stay tuned with us on social media. I never know what's going to happen. So some big games coming up, but we will be back next week to talk about them. Jordan, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We kept you a little later than I was planning, but It's been such a blast having you, and I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This is only my second ever podcast, and it was so much fun. You guys are all your jokes and very, very relaxed, very cool environment. So thank you guys for having me.
We always say we try to do this show like a couple of friends sitting at the bar talking about the Blues. So Hopefully that comes off a little bit.
It does, for sure.
And we're not too drunk.
Yes. There have been shows that we usually have a Christmas show where we'll bring various liquors and we'll just drink while we do it. And there was one time We definitely drink way too much.
Yeah.
I was like, Kurt, we got to end the show, man. I'm getting to a point where I can't talk anymore.
Cut it. Cut it.
Yep. And then Big Beaver says, thanks, Jordan. Sorry about Ponder. Yeah, everyone usually has to apologize for me. But it's been a real pleasure. And Jordan, I want to give you a quick moment. We do have listeners not in St. Louis, but also obviously anyone in St. Louis. Where can they find your work? How can they listen to you? And, any kind of social media where they can interact with you, please let us know how to do that now.
Yeah, I'm at Jordan Deeken, JordanDeeken, on all social media platforms. 101 ESPN also posts the game day and reaction videos that I make for every Blues game day. As far as listening, it doesn't matter if you're in St. Louis. You can listen on 101ESPN.com to all of the Blues broadcasts. And then I, like I said before, also do produce the Woody Show on 105.7 The Point that runs from Monday through Friday, 2 to 6. So yeah, I give some weather reports on there. So that's where you'll hear me there. But yeah, just a lot of social media interaction. Anytime that I'm at Blues practice in the morning, I'll always post a thread of answers from Jim Montgomery just to give everybody a little scoop behind the scenes that they might not get until game time. So just following on social media is the best way to stay connected with me. And then I also have a website, jordandeeken.com, where it shows all of the jobs that I've had throughout the years. And like mentioned those recap videos early on, a lot of those are posted to my website. So if you just like some little entertainment, that's where you can find all that.
Very cool. And Joe Schmo in the chat says, Kurt's officially replaced. We can only hope. Awesome. Jordan, it's been a pleasure. I really want to thank you. And again, please keep us in the mind in the future because we'd love to have you back on at some point.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Of course. And happy holidays to you. And we will talk to the rest of our listeners next week. Bill, anything to add before we close up?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered it pretty well. As far as next week goes, it depends when you're going to schedule that bag skate for the team for that performance last night.
Yeah, we'll do the bag skate soon.
And so apart from that, we'll Tuesday or Thursday probably is when we'll do a show. Wait, no, you said they play back to back. So
yeah, they play Wednesday, Thursday next week. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We always do. We got a couple comments I want to read before we close up. I live in Colorado, but we'll definitely check out some socials. That's the Baked Beaver. And then he adds, allegations led to Kurt being abruptly replaced. Jordan signed to a 5-show 2-way contract. I agree with that. And Night Ponder, go put on those Pronger jammies. I will for sure. Yes, I will. And then Ace also adds, you do a great job, ma'am. I imagine he's talking to you, Jordan. So hopefully.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks to our incredible sponsor, stripewithmike.com. That'll wrap up episode 11 of season 15 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. For Kurt Price and Bill Day, as well as the amazing Jordan Deeken, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, stop getting injured. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go.
I can't find the...
TV talking St. Louis Blues hockey, moving fast, can't catch the beat. Skates on fire, ice